Welcome back. It's Professor Montoya, now known as Mr. John. Keep it simple. So I'm going to pick up where this video left off on 3.2. You should have watched the video Exploring the Revit User Interface, which shows you a lot of the handy parts that go into a model. I wanted to also mention that the last part of the video talks about the Property Manager and the Project Browser. You can find those in the previous section. If you go, let's go to our modules. And I have those posted to your Module 3 video page. And so if you watch these set of four, they'll be very helpful, but the main two we're speaking about are the Property and the Type Selector and the Project Browser. Two important units that cover these two areas of the interface and will be very helpful for you if you decide to pursue more complex models. Let's go take a look at how you'll close up this particular session. So we'll go back into our Revit. Let me get back to level 1. Okay, so we have explored the house, and I've been working around figuring out, well, how we're going to get credit for doing all this. Well, we're going to take a look at some final aspects. We did mention that here in the views, the little house is your friend, because the little house will, if you double click, quickly gives you the overall of the house, and you can control that view with this view cube. I would really just leave you alone for a while and just take a look at all what the view cube can do for you. With that and zoom, you can get into many different places, and with the Project Browser, you can go back to level 1. Okay, so here's your two buttons you should remember. You should remember Floor Plan, level 1, that's home. You want to get back home. And if you're home and you want to get back to 3D, you do the house. So between these two, you have a safety outlet device other than undo button. And we can also take a look. What I'd like you to do is also examine how the arrows, I don't see them on, let's try level 1, let's refresh. Okay, so I've lost my arrows, but the little elevation markers, let's go to, maybe it's in Site Plan. So it's easy to get confused when you're working in these. So let me try a Site Plan. Okay, well, this particular one doesn't have the elevation markers. So in that case, I would have to go particularly to elevation, and I would have to push elevation to get to do the same thing that the rotation cube is doing, but it's allowing me to set around. And it's possible because this is now a construction document. It's not as movable and fluid as I normally work on things, because I'm more of a schematic setup, so I don't do a lot of the finished product. But let's go back to how you will turn in your work. There's two things you need to do. Okay, you need to give me a good file name as you save as, and you're going to do a save as up here. File, save as, and then you're going to do as a project, and then you're going to rename it according to the things that I've set down on that module. But first, let's do the project of what I'd like to. Now, I'm very intrigued with these two items. They've one is the dinner plate setup. Someone is giving a nice banquet, and I'd like to capture an image of that. Let's call it a rendering. So I'm going to show you an advanced feature. You by no means have to remember it, but just remember that each time you hold down, or you just let your cursor rest over one of these particular tools, it'll tell you what it does. So that's very helpful. Okay, so I let it talk to me about 3D view. It opens the default orthographic view. But the next thing we're going to do is listen to the camera. The camera creates a 3D view from the perspective of a camera placed in its view. So I like to think this. We're going to take a digital iPhone picture of this nice dinnerware, and you're going to submit it to me. And so how would that happen? You're going to go here, and we're going to say camera. Camera comes up, and I'm just going to lead you. You're probably just going to have to watch the video. Look, this is the ray. This is how far back the camera will go. I click it, and instantly I've taken a picture, and it throws me into what the camera sees. And then I can push and pull to adjust. I want to get that dinnerware because I want credit for this assignment. The professor wants to see this nice Last Supper image all set up. There's the Last Supper. I'm very pleased with it. Let me just kind of be artistic and choose something that you'd like to see. We're going to get involved in rendering and depictions, but for now, I can save this, and I can do my save as, and it'll capture this. One more thing I wanted to share with you before I go is up here, there is the help bar. If you wanted to find out more about anything, you could type up here. So this is the Autodesk Google camera. I'd push it, but I would lose this nice picture that I have now. And now I'm going to save it to get credit. So let's go to File. Do a Save As project. Okay, and if you have trouble figuring out what you want to save it as, here's where you'll be placing your name. So this one originally was the RAC Basic, and there was a project file. I'm going to call it. I like to name these according to the module. So it's 3.2, and I put a space, and the short form, let's go to intro. Intro to into files, file making. We'll call it intro file, and then space, and then I like your first initial, and then your last name. This helps me to locate it if I put all your files into a database, and especially on Canvas. And it's going to add the RVT end to it. So I'll do a save. There's the Last Supper. Everything is saving. I'll not only get the Last Supper picture, but I'm going to get the entire file. So we'll go back and see. We'll close this out. And we'll open a new one. We're going to open a new one. Let's close out of this first. Okay, now we're going to open it, and here is intro file Montoya. It's the latest. Soon they'll have a little picture of the Last Supper show up on here, but maybe if not, then we'll go ahead and open to verify that we've captured it. So in conclusion, I will have this particular picture to look for when I see everything. And if I have to, I can go ahead and find it in the 3D views. Last Supper setup. How did it get named? Well, in between the time I was out, I can do a right click. I can put rename. And then that's where I'll give it a new name. Last Supper setup. Okay, and it's a nice deep perspective if you like in a camera. This is an advanced stuff, but it's always nice to throw in something different, a curveball, to kind of get your juices flowing to see the potential of this. As I scroll over some of these images, though, it kind of tells you what they are, which is good. But with this, I will sign off, and we will move on to the next assignment.